Mika, you've cut your first laps at Bathurst here today. What were your impressions?
Oh, it's a great track. It's difficult to describe the feelings on the first lap because they didn't let us do any laps yesterday with the rental cars, so it was pretty much first time around for me, and it's just unbelievable. It's fast and it's walls are very close, so it's really good fun.
Also, in an event like this, you've got a lot of traffic to deal with across the top of the hill. That must be a challenge.
Yeah, it is. There's quite a big speed difference with some of the cars, and I think there's quite a few guys also who are here first time, like me, which are still quite a bit lost there, so I don't know exactly which way the circuit goes. But yeah, that's the same for everybody with the traffic, and it's normal in endurance races.
These cars are so fast across the top of the hill compared to a V8. Have you seen much of the V8 supercars around there?
I've been watching a lot of these videos of V8s here, and I was actually talking with some of the guys who's driven them here, and the speed difference is huge. Yeah, with our Ferrari, we are flat all the way through the top part, and V8s have to lift off a lot, and even most of these cars here have to lift off. But Ferrari has a good grip and good downforce, and it's amazingly quick there. And that's the point what makes it difficult for me, because I don't know exactly where the circuit goes, always all these blind corners, and I have to have a right position for the car, so it still takes me a while to get used to it.
Rob, you got to see the track in a road car yesterday, attacked it at racing speed today. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal circuit. I think it's one of the sort of my top 4 circuits that sort of legendary circuits. To be here at Bathurst is amazing, and it literally all came around about 3 weeks ago. I thank Pete Conroy Motorsport, James Winslow, and BAM Motorsport for getting me out here. It's been a brilliant experience so far. It's the first time I've driven Bathurst. It's the first time in a GT car, certainly the Audi. It's the first time on Michelin tyres, so it's all very new for me. But all's going well so far. It's such a difficult track to learn up the top. The sort of first and the last part are pretty sort of standard, if you like, but the street circuit, as I call it, right up the top of the mountain is just awesome. It's like a toboggan run. You're just left, you're right, you're left, you're right, you're up, you're down. I've never driven a circuit with such elevation and drops, but in the Audi, it's just amazing. It really it just brings you alive. It's just an amazing experience.
Has it made it harder learning this track with all the blind corners in a practice session with a lot of slower traffic?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get around the circuit. It's obviously only open as a race circuit a few times a year. I arrived Wednesday morning and managed to get around just a couple of times, I think 3 times on Wednesday. And then on Thursday it was closed, so we walked as a team with the engineers around the circuit, and then we had a bus tour as well, which was interesting, with 50 people on a bus. And then, managed to sneak a few extra laps in. It's difficult here because you don't get that time to learn the circuit in a road car. Lots of videos off YouTube, and there's some cracking videos of Chris next door in the Audi from last year. So it really gives you, a good idea of what's happening. But you can watch telly all day long. You can walk it as many times as you like until you've driven it in the car. It's something completely different. So it's just step by step bringing us up to speed. The last thing you want to do is throw it in the wall, which is very, very easy to do here. So, step by step, just building it up, and just getting used to a rear wheel and rear engine car as well.
Obviously, you've got a bit of a mix of driver talent and experience in the car. What are your hopes for Sunday, considering that really you've got to lead the setup as well?
Yeah, it's tough because another element of Bathurst in the 12-hour is, we're in the top class, and something I've never had to do is overtake someone in a race with the touring cars because, we're all much of a muchness. The closing speeds are fairly phenomenal, and you've really got to keep your wits about you. There's cars out there. There's some very good drivers in the slower cars, but the cars just aren't capable of doing nearly the speed we are. So it's very difficult, especially up the top there, because some different cars take different lines, different drivers take different lines, and so, you might see a car out to the right-hand side and you think, oh, lovely, you see me, he's going to let me through, and at the last minute they cut across just because that's their racing line, whereas with the aero package we've got, we can take a tighter line. So it is difficult. We've just been working on getting all 3 drivers up to pace, obviously, and I've had more time in the car than anyone because I've had less. I've never driven the car before, whereas James and Pete have. So I think we've got qualifying tomorrow. We're going to use the morning session very much to just try and get 1 or 2 decent lap times in, get a good time on the board, and then the second session in the afternoon, I think we're going to concentrate more on the race balance setup. So it's just great to be here. It's a wonderful experience, and thanks to everyone who's helped me out to get here.
Thomas, you've obviously had a lot of experience with these cars, but this racetrack is something different for you. How did you find it?
Yeah, it's really demanding track, but also very challenging. Especially the upper part where it's quite tight, the track. And it takes the time to get used to it because several corners are blind. So to find the right turning point is not so easy. But in the first 3 sessions we had quite a few laps and we could improve step by step. And I think all of our 3 drivers made quite a good job. We worked on the setup and so on. So I think we're well prepared.
So obviously you've got 2 qualifying sessions tomorrow. Do you think you'll be where you need to be, both in terms of the car and the drivers, by the start of the race?
Well, I think the most important thing is not the qualifying, because for a 12-hour race you need a very consistent car, not only a good car for 1 lap. And that's what we are aiming for, and we have some things to test tomorrow morning. But we are on the right way, and hopefully it works as it planned. So in the past, the SLS AMG GT3 proved to be really reliable, and we hope that we can show it here as well.
Obviously you've got one of the fastest cars in the field and there's a lot of slow ones out there. How did you find the traffic?
Yeah, it's quite difficult because especially on the upper part it's difficult to overtake and you can never be sure if the other car has seen you or not. And today I had a quite difficult situation already when I went inside a corner and the other car came from outside and we touched each other just a little bit. So you have to be very, very careful in the traffic, and I think especially the first 3-4 hours will be not easy at all. Yeah.